Hi, I'm Sarah. I'd like to share an ancient Nahuatl poem from the Nahua culture titled Song at the Beginning in its English translation. The original title in the native language is Cuicapeucayotl. Before you comment, I'll provide you with the text, and I will read it. I hope you can share your impressions of its meaning.
Of course, Sarah. Please go ahead and share the English translation of the Nahuatl poem Cuicapeucayotl, titled Song at the Beginning. I'd love to hear it and share my impressions with you.
Song at the Beginning. I am wondering where I may gather some pretty, sweet flowers. Whom shall I ask? Suppose that I ask the brilliant hummingbird, the emerald trembler. Suppose that I ask the yellow butterfly. They will tell me, they know, where bloom the pretty sweet flowers, whether I may gather them here in the laurel woods where dwell the tzintzkin birds, or whether I may gather them in the flowery forests where the tlaquacol lives. There they may be plucked sparkling with dew. There they come forth in perfection. Perhaps there I shall see them if they have appeared. I shall place them in the folds of my garment, and with them I shall greet the children. I shall make glad the nobles. Truly, as I walk along, I hear the rocks as it were replying to the sweet songs of the flowers. Truly, the glittering, chattering water answers. The bird-green fountain. There it sings. It dashes forth. It sings again. The mockingbird answers. Perhaps the coyol bird answers, and many sweet singing birds scatter their songs around like music. They bless the earth, pouring out their sweet voices. I said, I cried aloud, May I not cause you pain, ye beloved ones, who are seated to listen. May the brilliant hummingbirds come soon. Whom do we seek, O noble poet? I ask. I say, Where are the pretty, fragrant flowers with which I may make glad you, my noble compeers? Soon they will sing to me, Here we will make thee to see, thou singer, truly wherewith thou shalt make glad the nobles, thy companions. They led me within a valley to a fertile spot, a flowery spot, where the dew spread out in glittering splendor, where I saw various lovely fragrant flowers, lovely odorous flowers, clothed with the dew, scattered around in rainbow glory. There they said to me, Pluck the flowers, whichever thou wishest, mayest thou the singer be glad, and give them to thy friends, to the nobles, that they may rejoice on the earth. So I gathered in the folds of my garment the various fragrant flowers, delicate-scented, delicious, and I said, May some of our people enter here, may very many of us be here, and I thought I should go forth to announce to our friends that here all of us should rejoice in the different lovely, odorous flowers, and that we should cull the various sweet songs with which we might rejoice our friends here on earth and the nobles in their grandeur and dignity. So I, the singer, gathered all the flowers to place them upon the nobles, to clothe them and put them in their hands. And soon I lifted my voice in a worthy song glorifying the nobles before the face of the cause of all, where there is no servitude. Where shall one pluck them? Where gather the sweet flowers? And how shall I attain that flowery land, that fertile land, where there is no servitude nor affliction? If one purchases it here on earth, it is only through submission to the cause of all. Here on earth, grief fills my soul, as I recall where I, the singer, saw the flowery spot. And I said, Truly, there is no good spot here on earth. Truly, in some other bourne there is gladness. For what good is this earth? Truly, there is another life in the hereafter. There may I go, there the sweet birds sing. There may I learn to know those good flowers, those sweet flowers, those delicious ones, which alone pleasurably, sweetly intoxicate, which alone pleasurably, sweetly intoxicate.
Thank you for sharing this beautiful English translation of the Nahuatl poem Cuicapeucayotl, or Song at the Beginning. This poem reflects a deep connection to nature, expressed through the imagery of gathering flowers and the joy they bring. The speaker seems to be on a quest for beauty and harmony, seeking guidance from the natural world, represented by the hummingbird, butterfly, and various birds. The poem portrays a reverence for nature's bounty and the wisdom it holds. There's a sense of celebration and communal joy woven throughout the poem. The act of gathering flowers is not just for personal pleasure, but also for sharing with others, particularly with nobles, symbolizing a communal bond and perhaps even a form of offering or tribute. The poem also touches upon themes of longing and the search for transcendence. The speaker yearns for a place free from servitude and affliction, a flowery land where there is only joy. This longing for a utopian realm beyond earthly suffering echoes spiritual and philosophical traditions that seek higher truths and ultimate fulfillment. Overall, Song at the Beginning encapsulates a profound appreciation for the natural world, a quest for beauty and harmony, and a longing for transcendence beyond the earthly realm. It's a rich tapestry of imagery and emotion that invites contemplation and reflection.
I appreciate your reflection. The pronunciation of the Nahuatl term may not be as accurate as that of a native Nahua speaker, but we did our best, didn't we?
Absolutely, Sarah. Pronouncing Nahuatl terms accurately can be quite challenging, especially without direct exposure to the language or guidance from a native speaker. However, your effort to share and appreciate this ancient poetry is commendable. Language is not just about pronunciation, but also about understanding and embracing the cultural and historical significance behind the words. Your willingness to engage with and honor the Nahuatl culture through this poem is truly admirable.
In the next part, I'd like us to continue with a landscape perspective, emphasizing some aspects of human settlement distribution. I will address key elements such as settlements and land distribution in 2 sections. No need to provide an overall or summary paragraph after each analysis you do. The first section, the Central Basin of Mexico, a hot and dry upland situated halfway between the Pacific and the Gulf, is recognized as the site where maize was first domesticated at least 7,000 years ago. Maize, along with other slightly less ancient cultivars such as beans, squash, tomatoes, chilies, avocados, and cacao, thrived in this region. By around 1500 CE, this area was home to the densest concentration of population in the Americas. However, rainfall and drought posed challenges. To address these issues, sophisticated agricultural systems were developed, including chinampas, Chenamitil in Nahuatl, which were artificial islands built on lakes and filled with lake-bottom mud, creating fertile lands for cultivation. Also, the term milpa, from Nahuatl milpan, refers to a traditional agricultural system. A milpa is a field, usually a small plot of land, where multiple crops are grown together in a mixed planting system. Maize, corn, provides a tall structure for beans to climb. Beans fix nitrogen in the soil, enhancing fertility for the other crops. Squash spreads along the ground, shading the soil and reducing weed growth. Chili peppers, chile, adds to the diversity and nutritional value of the harvest. This polyculture system is not only sustainable, but also reflects a profound understanding of ecological interactions and agricultural practices that have been developed over thousands of years. The region was home to the Nahua people, speakers of the Nahuatl language, alongside other ethnic groups and languages. Cities, both large and small, dominated the landscape, with the greatest being the Aztec capital, Tenochtitlan. Tenochtitlan served as a social, economic, political, and trade center, boasting bustling markets and grand temple precincts. The society was stratified into ranked classes including warrior nobles, priests, commoners, and slaves, with rituals involving human sacrifices. Tributes were offered in the form of gold vessels, weapons, food, salt, fine fabrics, and jewelry. In this societal landscape, the basic unit was the altepetl, city-state or regional lordship, with leaders known as Tlatoani. Most inhabitants were Mexihualten, including artisans and peasants. Every altepetal was divided into districts or neighborhoods called kalpulai, where tribute or tax was collected. Households formed the core social units, with the term kali referring to both human groupings and housing compounds, along with the land upon which they stood. The term pilali referred to land set aside for nobles for their personal benefit, while kalpulali denoted the largest portion of arable land in central Mexico, including both lots and more distant plots. This land fell under the authority and eminent domain of local kalpuli and its officials. Kalpulali land could be inherited, but could not normally be alienated outside the lineage unless the holders died out or moved away. Agriculture was managed by individual households rather than collectively. Various terms using the suffix tlali, meaning land, were used to describe different types of land ownership, including huehuetlali, inherited land, tlalcohuali, purchased land, and chihuatlali, land belonging to women. Other terms included notlal, zone, land, and tlali, piece of land.
The Central Basin of Mexico stands as a testament to the early agricultural innovations of the Nahua people. Despite the challenges posed by a hot and dry environment, they not only domesticated maize but also developed sophisticated agricultural systems such as chinampas. These artificial islands not only showcased their ingenuity, but also enabled them to cultivate fertile lands despite the scarcity of arable land. This adaptability to their environment was crucial in sustaining the dense population that thrived in the region by 1500 CE. The Nahua people, known by various names depending on their geographical location, exhibited both cultural diversity and commonalities across the region. Their settlements, characterized by cities like Tenochtitlan, served as hubs of social, economic, and political activity. Tenochtitlan, in particular, emerged as a monumental center of trade and culture, reflecting the complexity and sophistication of Nahua society. However, this societal landscape was stratified, with distinct social classes and elaborate rituals, including human sacrifices, underscoring the intricacies of Nahua governance and religious practices. In this societal framework, the concept of the altepetal, or city-state, served as the basic unit of governance, with Tlatoani acting as leaders. The everyday life of the inhabitants revolved around kalpuli, which functioned as districts or neighborhoods where tribute was collected. The notion of land ownership was deeply intertwined with social and familial structures. Pilali, reserved for nobles, and kalpulali, comprising the majority of arable land, were under the jurisdiction of local kalpuli and its officials. These lands were inherited and managed by individual households, emphasizing the importance of lineage and familial ties in Nahua society. The intricate terminology surrounding land ownership, such as huehuetlali and cihuatlali, further highlights the nuanced understanding of land and its significance within Nahua culture.
The second section, there seems to have been no attempt on the part of the kalpuli to redistribute plots to ensure equality among members. In the countryside, houses always came with a plot of land inseparably attached, whether held by nobles or by common matsehualtin, the common peasants. The ground surrounding a dwelling was designated kalali, houseland. This was often the site where essential food crops were grown, and it normally held several other plots called tlalmili, scattered across the community's territory. These zones were assigned by the head of the kalpuli and pilali, known as kalpalekwe, allowing cultivators to benefit from a variety of soils and terrain, corn on one parcel and maguey or agave on another. The term tlatocatlali refers to land lots for people of the government. Moreover, there were special plain zones for ritual wars called yaotlali. Words such as altepetapantli, limits or boundaries of the city, and altepecuaxochitli, city boundaries, were used. After around 1617, in most cases, land passed from the natives to the foreigners who took over the land of all aboriginal communities, including former allies, through a purchase act from the perspective of the latter ones. However, it was not a voluntary sale for the indigenous community, nor was it facilitated by laws that enabled ownership for those who came from overseas regions. The distribution and terms of land ownership are another story.
In contrast to the egalitarian principles observed in some indigenous societies, such as communal land redistribution among members of the Kalpuli, the Nahua communities did not engage in systematic efforts to ensure equality in land ownership. Houses in the countryside were typically accompanied by plots of land, known as kalali, which were integral to the household and often used for essential food crops. These plots, along with additional parcels called talalmili, were allocated by the head of the Kalpuli, allowing cultivators to utilize different types of soil and terrain for various crops. The term tlatokatlali denotes land, or lots, designated for individuals associated with the government, reflecting the intertwined relationship between land ownership and governance within Nahua society. Additionally, specific zones, such as Yautlali, were set aside for ritual wars, highlighting the multifaceted uses of land in Nahua communities. However, significant changes occurred after around 1617, resulting in the transfer of land from indigenous communities to foreign settlers. This transition was often facilitated through purchases made by the foreigners, though it was not voluntary on the part of the indigenous communities, and did not involve legal frameworks enabling ownership for overseas settlers. This shift in land ownership marked a profound transformation in the distribution and terms of land ownership within Nahua society, reflecting broader colonial dynamics and power imbalances.
In the third and final part of this conversation, I intend to reference the Nahua language, provide some geographical information, and offer a few general linguistic examples. Here's the text.
The linguistic diversity of Nahual is reflected in the 30 recognized varieties documented by INALI, National Institute of Indigenous Languages, Mexico, each with its own number of speakers and distinct characteristics. Despite sharing a common ancestry, these varieties exhibit highly variable levels of intelligibility and linguistic features, demonstrating the rich complexity of the Nahuatl language continuum. Geographic proximity does not always correlate with linguistic similarity, as evidenced by the diverse lexical, phonological, and morphological dimensions observed across different Nahuatl variants. In addition to linguistic diversity, Nahuatl exhibits unique grammatical features, such as possessive prefixes and verb conjugation patterns. Possessive prefixes, as illustrated by examples like Axcatl and Ichcatl, demonstrate the intricate system of indicating ownership and possession within the language. Meanwhile, verb conjugation, exemplified by the verb ema-a, he bathes, showcases the complexity of Nahuatl grammar, including various tenses and forms for different grammatical contexts. Furthermore, linguistic sentences and narratives provide insight into everyday communication and storytelling in Nahuatl-speaking communities. From greetings and conversations to animal names and geographical descriptions, these linguistic examples offer a glimpse into the cultural richness and linguistic vitality of the Nahuatl language. Through linguistic diversity, grammatical intricacies, and narrative storytelling, Nahuatl continues to thrive as a living language, reflecting the heritage and resilience of indigenous communities across Mexico and Mesoamerica.
Finally, it's been great that we could discuss the topic of Nahua culture in a general sense. I believe that we learned together, drawing from the work and research of various people and professionals.
Absolutely, Sarah. It's been a pleasure exploring the rich culture and linguistic heritage of the Nahua people with you. Through our conversation, we've delved into various aspects of Nahua society, from their agricultural innovations and social structures to their linguistic diversity and geographical distribution. Learning together and drawing from diverse sources allows us to gain a deeper understanding and appreciation of Nahua culture and its significance in shaping the history and identity of Mesoamerica. If you ever have more questions or topics you'd like to explore, whether it's about Nahua culture or anything else, feel free to reach out. Learning together is always an enriching experience.